do it. It's just repetition. And then feeling like what your vibe is online. But don't make up your vibe anything more than you.
Right.
That's the problem. Don't be anything that you're not, bro. Be honest, be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is gangster. Being young and learning from another.
Put that on the little table.
Being young and learning from another in a ego or side way is gangster, nigga. This is me all the way, nigga. I used to give props all the time to the OGs all over the place. Cause I was like, yo, y'all niggas paved the way for a nigga, like y'all showing the way for me how to win. So, you know, that's the ultimate code to the game. The code to the game is keep it G, nigga.
Yeah.
Feel me? G recognize G. The top G is above. We all below one G. The top G.
Yeah.
Ultimate G, God.
The ultimate G.
Trying to be like him, nigga.
Just trying to be like him. Who's your role model? Who's your role model, bro? That's my first question to start with.
Top G. Top G.
They're going to
I'm just
talk
gonna
about
speak And the thing is, but top G represented and what's the word? Embodied in the world is what's the name of MT. That is God manifest and God represented, and that's the reason he's so bashed, because the moment that God is able to speak that shit, the whole world knows, oh, we're in for it. Like God through one person can change the world. And so greed will bash him and make it seem like he's not teaching men how to be men.
Right.
Because unless you got a class and school of trained warriors, then it would be very easy to take over, right? When you got a bunch of little bitches that think that Andrew Tate, something's wrong with him, teaching you how to be a top G. A top G is God, bro.
Yo, all the stuff that I listen to him, like,
because it's G,
bro.
This is the top, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be caught, like, do not listen to anyone you don't want to be like.
Very true.
This is the ultimate lesson I used to learn.
That's nice.
Press record.
That's nice.
It's already
Clean.
recording.
Yeah,
It's already recording.
Oh, it's already recording.
Yeah.
Oh, off rip, baby. Welcome back to the Vibecast.
Oh.
You know, welcome back to yourself.
Welcome back to yourself.
So, just to go off that, Andrew Tate is that nigga because he's teaching niggas how to be that nigga. Imagine the whole world with a bunch of that niggas. You can't just bogart a bunch of real niggas, like, you know, and
Can't influence them like you want to.
And this is from my heart, and because I came up and my dad was a real great role model of being a man, and his influence, his friends were as well. But I feel like, not to say that, I don't know, like with this pussifying of society, I just see like lesser and lesser of it, and I kind of want to, you know, remind young men that there's a G code. You feel me? Like there's a G code that niggas have lived by for ages, and it ain't gonna stop with your, you know, your demographic. Like no, top G, like real G's will always exist, and do not listen to the to the news. Like teach you how to be a like a little, like he called it, what he called it, sissy boy or a little indie boy. I don't know.
PP boy.
I don't even know, but he called. That's really it.
Yeah. Like
So being yourself is the ultimate top G shit. Like you don't gotta be masculine. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that be you. If that's masculine, then be that.
Right. Because a lot of people are shying away from being that because
Yo,
society.
what? That's like boys not want to play with toys.
Right.
What the fuck? And I see like these days the computer, in a way, in my opinion, is like not as good of a thing as they say. Like I see, because people fall into fucking fantasies on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Niggas fall into, you know, thinking that the computer is reality, and then basing their whole thought processes on being some glamorous fucking figure online, which is just taking their time away. And the reality of there's never been an internet, right? So never in history has there been an internet in the past. So everyone still had to do something.
Right.
Now that there's an internet, doesn't mean that like that's the only way to do something in life or make it, like. And not to say everyone, but I just see a lot of young men being full, like, into that, and I see that as a way to weaken the next generation, and then not only weaken a generation, but have a society full of weak men not feeling good or experiencing what it's like to be a man. They're gonna grow up and
They've been basing their whole life online, and we're not being even taught. So, like, you made me realize that actually that we are like. I mean, I've never had a construction job. I've never fucking. So I'm not even gonna be that guy that's like I'm different. You feel me? Like you honestly made me like rethink all that shit. Like, because I am a fucking mama's boy, and fucking I was fucking spoiled when I was little. So you really made me think about that shit a lot, honestly. To this day, still every day, I'm fucking still getting out those habits. Like it's not like I'm, I'm not fucking.
and I was too.
Right.
I grew up the same way, but what I was lucky about was that I lived with my mom until I was around 14 or 15, and I lived like most boys that live with a single mom, which is an epidemic, like a little pussy boy. Like I couldn't go across the certain block, I couldn't pass the stop sign.
Right.
Like you know what I'm saying, like little pussy boy shit, like
Right.
scared me. When I moved with my dad, it just was different. Like I had every freedom I wanted,
Right.
and then I had 7 years of kind of this game. So I say that to say, fucking single mother, like those rates are crazy,
Right.
And this stems from a lack of masculine leadership because when you're not really within yourself as a masculine man, then you're not going, you're not going to. That's like the first thing that's going to happen. You're not going to take responsibility for your creations, and therefore you're going to just have a bunch of young men out here being 50% of the whole game is taken away from you because men ain't stepping up. So now you have a whole epidemic of that, and then women trying to raise men to be men, and then some men aren't lucky enough to have their dad step in at 14, 15 at that crucial time when I was kind of like,
Or even me having stepdads, I kind of realized that, like, damn, I never really had a dad like you. And when my mom brought my first stepdad home, I was like, this is different. You feel me? Like, the energy was different, and the dude trying to boss me around was different than my mom trying to boss me around. You get me? So it's like on the edge of that at first, like, thinking about it back then, because my mom, like, I've had two step. I'm on my second stepdad now. So my first stepdad was when I was like maybe a middle schooler, elementary-ish. So it was really different than high school. My second stepdad caught me in the rebellious stage. So that was even worse.
bullshit rebellion.
That was even
You're a young man
worse.
that hasn't had half of his understanding.
You're not telling me what to do. That was my mentality. Like, you just got here.
Good nigga, I made it to 15 on my own.
Right.
Stop playing with me, boy.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm playing football now.
Exactly. And my mom wasn't that. My mom wasn't the mom that did like made me say like I was out in the streets. Like my mom gave me that freedom, surprisingly. And I don't think she would have gave me that freedom here in Jersey. So I feel like that was part of the move to Texas. Like it was part to like made to happen because I don't think I would have had that freedom out here, honestly. But like I was always in the high, staying at my boy's place, like always growing up. Like actually not anymore, but always growing up. I was like in the streets and at my boys' place. So, like surprisingly, my mom was, thank God, good about that. But
That's good to hear. You at least you wasn't super pussyfooted.
right, I wasn't always like I wasn't outside.
Somewhat because a mom thinks sometimes that protect because it's in her nature to be protective. So they think that's like trying to take a lion cub and not let him be a lion cub. So then when he gets older and you ask him to go hunt and he's looking at you like, bitch, why you not coming with me? Like, and you looking at him like, why you not like your dad? Because like dad wasn't around and you didn't know how to teach me to go out there and go hunt buffalo. And so this is one of the raw, like reason I want to keep it so raw and gangster is because, like that's I feel like what resonates and will get people to know that I ain't perfect, nor am I saying anything other than, I see this as a problem, and I want to take my living and embodying some real G code as like, all right, let me try to, relay game because sometimes I feel like you can't relate with people that you don't resonate with. And I've always been, in the know about how sports and entertainment have, completed it. I mean, created this false sense, this false in our communities that we all want to chase what only 1% of us are going to get into. So that leaves 99% of us feeling unachieved or whatever if we're not the top 1%. So it's much more realistic than to think to be a global superstar or an athlete, to think of how you can make it in the real world where 99% of people compete. Right. And that's why I'm an advocate for, I didn't win in like a glorifying way, or I wasn't some sensational star. I won on the ground. And that's where it's about to, like, niggas gotta get back used to getting on the ground. Because
That's
not
crazy.
everyone's gonna be in YouTube. Like, the shit is
Right,
not,
you're-
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's already old.
That
It's
is
already
crazy.
fake.
It is.
becomes fake. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
And niggas is out here competing to be the fakest.
Man.
And that's another thing too. I really want to stand for being yourself. Because even if you was, so before I started a multi-million-dollar fucking lighting company, I was running a multi-$100,000 weed operation. And I thought that because I was coming from that it made me something less, that I didn't speak about my reality. I was traveling back and forth to Cali, kind of following in the footsteps of my dad. And, I didn't speak about that for so long because I thought it made me something that was like, but now I realize that like that shit like well, really gangster is gangster. Like that's really what everybody like. So this is the thing, right? This thing that we call they, this umbrella over society, is this aura and this concept and this like 4D holographic figure of a white male with power, old, not swaggy, with money, right? So that's what the whole world is bound down to, this like corporate suit and tie white guy that makes you feel like you are something, put on your, we always say, put on your white hat, like you go to white people's, like as if we have to be proper and not who we are for them.
Right.
And now, that's changing. And I'm a part of that change because I won as a nigga in a white man's world. So I realized that like, and really what's cool is to win and be gangster. Like that's kind of what was really, because that's why they was all listening to rap anyway. We all want to be gangster. We all want to have like a hard knock story. So if you really hard knock, embrace that because it's what make you even more unique. Because there's no difference between us and them whatsoever. There's no difference in our capabilities. The only difference is in our belief systems and our knowledge. So if you are taught the same things that they are taught, and you know that fundamentally that the opportunities are the same for you that they are for them, then that will give you the power to walk forward and be competitive. And there's no reason you can't have the, you see quarterbacks in the NFL taking over the QB positions left and right, because there's no longer this, there was always used to be like a white QB because the white guy leads the team, but niggas is stepping into their power.
Right.
It's like nigga QBs is lit now.
Crazy.
And it's the same way in the corporate world and the job world. And, so I just want to be a champion for knowing that where you come from makes you extra unique. So own that shit,
So
I had a
that's
hard ass time doing that for a long time until I reflected on my journals. And then I realized my shit hit different.
Yeah.
Like, when you reflect and you see, and you see that you've written things and done them, when you know the struggle that comes along with that, it gives you a newfound sense of confidence as a man. Like, damn, I'm about that, and and that's
You
what.
remember those past traumas. You remember those past
So because you were journaling, you were inspired by my journaling because you were journaling yourself, and you were doodling just like I was around your age. It was like I had a journal, but it was like talking about shit. You're talking about young shit, But that still gives you the ability to look back and be like, damn, where you were 2 years ago.
Really,
And
really does.
if you do that, if you continue in that habit, then what do you think that will do for you in 7 years when you're my age? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is gangster. So journey and process. You are a creator. We are all creators, creating our realities. You have to remember that and don't be caught like word. Like, unlearn everything you learned.
And it's a process, man. It's a process. I think now we're 2 years in maybe, but like this past year has been like very deeper than the past year before that.
It's okay. Let me stop you right there. That's like a pro vetted boxer talking to a young amateur coming up and I had 2 fights, I'm been going. 58 more. I want 58 more times.
Right.
I want 300 more journal entries and 350 more journal entries before you ever say anything
Just
about.
Yeah.
And that's not what's it called you, but it's like there's levels to this shit. It's a journey. Own that shit, like you gotta own that shit from now going forward.
I've really been trying to get in that habit of enjoying the process. Yeah, I just focus on the destination because that was a big problem for me.
Then I think we should end right there, or we should just continue because this really sparked the idea to speak about reflections and the whole concept.
And we just had mad topics. Like we just had the men topic, and then you jumped into.
Let's just pause it here.
That was
See how
like 2-3
sounds,
episodes right
because
there.
we can talk about reflections, and it's exactly what we're talking about.
I hope you guys enjoyed first podcast.
Yeah. So and the what's it called? The slogan. is to always bless yourself.
Bless yourself.
Peace.
We out.